Morning guys, so today I'll be talking about two main movements that happened during the 1900s. One being women's rights movement and the other one being the temperance movement. So how did women's rights develop into an issue? Well, women had helped in the American Revolution War to fight for our freedom, and when they came back and everything was settled down, they found that they weren't as free as the men in terms of politics and ownership of land and stuff like that. As in document 1, it states that the custody of the wife's person, meaning that husbands would be the owners of their wives, and when the husband died, the brother would be. If not, the son would take ownership of his mother. So that was one right that was taken away from the woman. Another right was they were denied the right to have their own property. They could never have their own property unless it was inherited, and even then they couldn't have full control over it. Conventions like the Seneca Falls, led by Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott, definitely helped with the women's rights. It gave them the right to vote. It is still relevant to today's society. We have the right to vote with the 19th Amendment, and it provided equality to some extent for men and women. Some other rights that women were fighting for were things like health care. Women were able to improve hospital services in the state, so that's one thing they were advocating for. Another thing was that they demanded protection for their children that they were working in as child labor in factories, so they wanted protection for that. So those were some of the things they advocated for, stated in document 2. Another main issue in the 1900s was the temperance movement, and it rose because it was believed that, it is true, that alcohol leads to violence, it leads to dishonoring the name, it leads to separation of families, husband beating up the wife. So in document 4, it's in the picture, in the cartoon illustration, it shows that there's little words, and it says like dishonored names and ruined fortunes and lost reputations, meaning that alcohol was the contributor to all of that. So women were like, no, it's a family, stay together. So women were advocating for alcohol to stop, and they passed the 18th Amendment that banned alcohol, but this only increased the law breaking, and people were selling alcohol in the black market, so it increased the law. So in document 6, it talks about how alcohol was illegal and people were still trying to consume it because of their addiction. So yeah, it's in document 6. Was it successful? Not really. So we have the 21st Amendment that repels the 18th, so it wasn't successful at all. It just increased the law breaking and led to more work for the government. Both of these movements greatly changed the society in the 1900s and definitely influenced to a certain extent to where we are today.